calculus. Oh, Bobby, that's so funny. My students are emailing me. Let me make sure it's not important. Emailing you regarding the exam.
Here we go. Hello.
Meowdy, y'all.
Hi.
What the heck? Oh, I guess I should be muting your stream, huh?
Oh,
Oh my god,
probably.
Mashi, you look so cute. Can you
Thanks.
just like do a little puppy smile? Actually, you're kind of faded out.
Oh, it's because of the
You're not well lit.
lighting. Is this?
Get a light on this woman. Okay, that's better. Okay.
Now I'm bright. I was
Hello,
the color of the water.
everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Sunny. Hi, JJ. Hi, Cox.
Oh, it's so late.
Hi,
I'm sorry,
Sunny.
Cox.
Hi, Sharky.
Sunny,
Hi,
I'm happy
Misery
to see
Bell.
you.
Hello. Happy to see you.
Hello, Zilla, Shark, Sunny, Cox.
We actually had some stuff going on. We had a later start.
Yeah, I had to go touch grass for a little bit.
Last you went and touched grass, aren't you so proud?
Man, this is a Wendy's. Man, this is a Wendy's.
I actually touched grass today too.
Oh?
Believe it or not.
Believe it or not, you're always touching grass.
Yeah, I try to get out of my house.
It was good to get out of my house.
Now you're gonna touch dinks. Oh, hell yeah.
What if we touch dinks?
What if our dinks... In the Australian outback, what if we touched dinks?
Right where the crocs are.
Right in front of the crocs. That's a right dinkum. Were you laughing at me, William?
What did he say?
That's a right. No, I heard him laugh really loud from downstairs, and I was like, the timing. He has to be laughing at what I said. There's no other explanation. Okay. I'm not in single player. Nobody wanted that.
Uh-oh. I guess I'm not playing.
Main menu. Dink jokes are the best jokes. Rin was smoking that bush. I don't think so. Okay. Are you sure? Oh. Okay. I asked him to go get us a treat.
I have ice cream sandwiches.
Oh my god, that sounds good.
They're
Hi,
delicious.
Joker on YouTube.
Hi, Joker.
Oh, I didn't open Mix It Up. You guys,
Tell Joker that I hope he got his medicine.
Joker can hear you.
Can you hear me, Joker? Are you better
Sometimes
now?
I still hear her voice. Multiplayer. Post game. Okay, now can I do all these things?
Descend to the undergrove. Descend to the hot, hot, hot.
What?
Take a trip to the island reef. I'm looking at achievements.
The island reef. That's interesting.
Open a swag pack. Jolly swag pack. Eat a snag? Oh, it's just a hot dog.
What? I got me medicine, but now I got chronic diarrhea. Joker, I'm so sorry.
Joker, what?
That sucks. That sucks.
Is it the medicine?
Sunny says, poor Joker.
Holy shit, the game's so loud. I'm so sorry, chat. It's probably not loud for you. It's just loud for me.
Happy to see you too, Sharky. Sharky, when are you gonna protect the Han Moon?
When are you gonna protect the Han Moon?
When are you gonna protect the Han Moon? Chat, I finally saw K-pop Demon Hunters for the first time on Friday, and then I watched it again on Saturday. Actually, my friend's 4-year-old child, my friend's 4-year-old child called me from his mom's phone. Or I think he asked and then she called me, but he was on the phone when I answered. And he said, Aunt Win, will you please watch Hunters with us tomorrow?
Aww.
Like, what am I gonna do? Say no?
Absolutely not. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely not.
Who's throwing me shade? Happy birthday, Shade! Everyone say happy birthday to Shade. It's his birthday today.
Shade, happy birthday! I hope you've been having the most amazingest day of all time.
Hope you had yummy food.
And presents.
I can't water these. I'm struggling.
Okay, Joker says, no, I ate quesadillas with rancher cheese. It was homemade cheese. It was so tasty, but my tummy got really mad.
He's lactose intolerant.
Well, just have some lactate before you eat it. You gotta be smart about it. Shade, could you get food now? Can you get food now? Do you need me to Venmo you some money for a snack? For a birthday treat? Because I will.
Venmo? What's your Venmo? What's your Cash App?
And then I said, who is Rin? No, actually, the child called me by my real name, but I thought maybe I won't say that out loud on stream. Just sat down, I'm gonna eat tacos? Hell yeah! Okay, so it's the Sky Festival. What's she saying?
We got some great activities planned for today, so I hope you'll stick around. What activities? Well, around 11, everyone will be making a kite. Be sure to talk to me around 11 to get your kite kit. I've got enough for everyone. But later on, we'll start Flying Lantern event. I'll explain how it works later. And of course, everyone is looking forward to the main event, the Aurora, the beautiful and rare natural occurrence later tonight.
Hi Jay, how are you? Jay, we both touched grass today.
We did. I went to an apple festival. And
Sounds amazing.
For that, we went to a restaurant and I had shrimp tacos.
Oh my goodness.
Delicious. Your rice is ready. Your rice is ready.
Really?
Yeah, look at it. It's sparkly. You have to...
How do I get it?
Here, take this. Come.
If that dog eats my rice, I'm gonna be very unhappy.
Hey, get out of here, dog.
Nice work. Okay, so let's use the right tool.
Yeah. Oh, I don't have a...
Good night, DJ.
Okay. Didn't we plant another, or do we need to...
No, we can plant your seeds now.
Yeah, where are my seeds?
If you want. That's a great question. I want to give you back your scythe. I'm playing Tiny Bookshop and there's a little stray dog you can feed fishies to. Yeah, I've played quite a bit of that game, son.
Cute. Ren,
I can't wait for you to see what happens next.
Did you ever figure out where to go next in Magical Delicacy?
Yes, I beat the game.
You beat it?
Yeah, I did. And actually, today I beat Rune Factory.
Oh, the
I'm still gonna keep playing.
Inazuma or something?
Guardians of Azuma. Yeah.
Azuma.
I'm still gonna keep playing because I beat the story before the end of summer of year 1. But that's just because I use my time very efficiently.
Dang, she's a pro, beating all these games. I haven't beaten
I know,
Magical
I never
Delicacy
used to
yet.
beat games. Well, I can help you. Well, I don't even know if I remember anymore, to be honest.
Do I need to hoe the ground or just plant? Okay.
No, I don't. Well, actually, I think you do need to hoe the ground. And maybe the ground stayed hoed.
Yeah, some of it did. There was
Okay,
this-
so this one is gonna get eaten again.
Can we prevent that
Unless
from happening?
We can put a fence post here.
Yeah, I could just jump over the fence and...
Yeah, that'd be fine. I think we probably have a couple extra fence pieces. Chat, how was your guys' weekend? I'm gonna need you to tell me.
Tell us about your
Because
weekend.
I've just been wondering all day, not knowing. I'm sick? I'm so sorry. That
No, you are
sucks.
officially sick. You've caught the sickness. Are you down with the sickness?
I'm not down with it.
I'm gonna take a picture. Cute.
I'm playing the soundtrack to Mashi's musical. Joker says, Sunny, my Oshi is sick. UNU. Wait, come back. Mwah.
Mwah.
Ooh, ah, ah, ah.
Ooh, ah, ah,
Is that from Down with the Sickness? Is that
ah.
what
Yeah.
that's from?
Yeah.
Me and Mr. Rin just do it all the time. Actually, what I do is I say gong ga 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 because that's the place in Final Fantasy.
Gong, ga,
Gong ga 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 ga.
I love that.
They named a place Gong ga ga. What? I love it.
Me?
Me?
Gong, ga, ga.
Gong gaga. Me?
Me?
Gong gaga? Did somebody else make that joke already?
What?
That's mine.
Please, please, I want to be part of your inside joke.
Man, I was telling a joke about the movie series Now You See Me, and JJ and Sunny were on my case like,
Wait, you were what? Telling a joke about what?
the Now You See Me movie series.
Okay, what about it?
So there was a movie called Now You See Me. It wasn't doing shit. It was just JJ. Okay, it wasn't Sunny, it was just JJ. Alright. I don't think I can tell you, JJ's crying.
Oh, JJ, it's okay. Stop
Is
it. I'm catching strays.
So there's a movie called Now You See Me, and it's about magicians doing a bank heist, okay?
Ah, yes.
I fucking love that movie because I love magicians and I love heist movies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that movie, totally for me. Then they made a movie called Now You See Me Too, which is stupid. Because they should have said, now you see me, now you don't, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't. They called it Now You See Me Too, okay? And now they're making a third movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the third movie is called Now You Don't.
What?
Like, right? And as I was telling this story, JJ was like, that's a bit from Harmontown or from Dan Harmon or something like that. And I was like, okay, but it's also a fact that I think is funny. I'm not allowed to say something because Dan Harmon said it.
Nibelheim.
Oh, I gotta get my kite kit. Oh no, am I too late?
Me? Gungaga.
Right over.
Me?
Here's your kite kit.
Gongaga.
Me?
Me?
Gungaga.
Wait, who is that?
Me? Gungaga.
I don't know.
Me?
That's
Gungaga.
the black-haired guy. What's his name?
Kite kit.
I've never played a Final Fantasy game, guys. I only know some of the
What does he look
characters'
like?
names. I think he had a romance with Aerith or something, and then he...
Oh, that guy?
And then
Zach?
he... Is it Zach?
Is it
Yeah.
Zach?
He's like
Dad, is it
the
Zach?
alternate version of Cloud. It's like Zach.
Great.
Me? Gongaga. Now I gotta... Oh wait! We can make... Okay, we can get the kit and then... You could make a purple one!
I did, look!
Where's my kit? Where's my kit?
Look!
Bunch is busy? Frickin' Theodore! I need to get my kit!
Don't worry, she stayed up all night making enough for everyone in the whole town.
Yeah, got it.
Oh, this is a beautiful game. Just go to the craft table.
Which one did you make? The box?
I made the diamond shape. Cursed! Hi, Cursed!
Hi, Cursed. Should I make a green or an orange?
Son, I knew you were gonna be so excited when you get to take the dog with you.
Wait, I don't have... Wait, do I have green paint?
It would be in the house over here. Whatever paint we have is in here in the chest on the right. On the left. So you only get 3 choices for the name, Sunny.
Okay,
You only
it's
get
gonna
3
have to be
choices for the name.
orange.
That's okay. Orange is a bright, sunny color.
Yeah. Sunny. Sunny mentioned.
No, I was talking about Mashi, but I love Sunny too. I went with Behemoth? Wait a minute. I don't know if we had the same choices. I think all three, I think mine all started with M. What were the other choices, son? Look at this kite!
I made my kite.
Oh, Bailey, Buddy, and Behemoth? No, that's right. I named mine Bailey. Thank you
You
for
can
that.
use the kite to let it string out.
Oh!
You can let
The
your
other
kite go
Come
much
out
higher.
now! Wait, come out! Look! This guy!
Ah, oh, cute.
Got one.
He's got one. If you hold... Oh, shit.
Made
I
your
didn't
kite
do
yet.
that.
Don't forget you can make your kite. Yeah, I made my kite. That's great, Rin. You're going to need a kite for the Flying Lantern event. Why don't you go and get a feel for flying it before we start the event? We're 10 feet away from each other, lol. Remember, you can use the kite to let string out. That will let your kite go much higher. The event will start at 3 o'clock, so you've got some time. Okay, so using the kite would be right-clicking.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening.
I mean, it's going higher, I think.
Mine's not.
Look, it's only this high, and then I go this. I go like this,
Okay,
and
hang
then
on.
it goes that
Theodore
high.
started talking to me. Okay, so and you're right-clicking on it?
Left.
Left clicking. Aha!
Yeah.
Whee! Oh, that Umbreon emote is so cute.
I love Sunny's Umbreon emotes.
They're adorable. Excuse me, John. Why don't you have a kite?
John.
Zin Fable, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Rinfination.
Hello,
Zin Fable.
Zen.
We have free healthcare.
Thank you for following Rinzen. Rinzen.
Oh, it's somebody you know, Mashi?
They're from Pumpkin's chat.
Oh, hello. God says kill John.
Thank you for the hydrate.
God, did you wake up on the wrong side of the bed today?
Kill John. These people's blush are coming out of their face and it's like blinking on my screen.
What's coming out of their face?
The
What's coming out of
blush
whose face?
the blush on their cheeks is coming out of their it's
Oh, like there's a graphical glitch happening?
Yes.
Oh my god, you're right, I see it. It's floating in the air.
That's supposed to be
saw
their
it.
blush.
I saw it. It was the 2 pink
Yeah.
things just floating
So
in the
silly.
air.
Okay, what now? Fletch.
At 3 o'clock, the thing is gonna happen. God never wakes up on the wrong side. What in the big rigs?
What in the big rig?
What Some of the
I
big rigs.
saw this video of
only know
this
about the
guy who's a trucker, and he brings his kitty cats out on his truck with him, and they explore and they run around, and they're so happy to be there.
That's so
And it's so cute.
The Flying Lantern event has started. Speak to Fletch to learn the rules. I'm gonna learn the rules first. Please go enjoy yourself. How do I play? Well, the aim of the game is to hit down as many flying lanterns from the sky as you can. Each one will drop a Skyfest prize ticket once you've hit it. The best way to hit them down is using your kite, but I won't stop you from being creative. You should bring any Skyfest prize ticket back here to this table to claim rewards from
Rin, we gotta win.
Okay, and then I can ask, any tips for me? Well, if you stand still, you'll notice the kite will go wherever you're looking. If you use your kite, you'll let out some string and it will go much higher. It's easier to aim your kite while doing this than standing still. When I was a bit younger, I found this the best strategy. Get close to a flying lantern, use your kite to make it go higher, then try to line things up by watching where your kite's string is. Are they all out of town? Like, am I gonna get attacked by a crocodile while I'm out here?
No. I have to pick it up. We gotta pick up as many. We can get star fences and a moon lamp.
Why isn't this working?
You gotta just wait for it to like go up and then here, look.
Where are you?
Right in front of you.
Okay, I'm looking.
So just stand still.
I hear the
hold
crocodile
it.
sound. Oh, okay, okay, I see.
Try to get this one.
I can't get this one?
Yeah, you can get that one.
I don't know. It looked like I should have got it. Maybe it's too far away.
I think, yeah, you need to get closer to it. You can go on the other side of the bridge. It's easier.
What about this one? What?
Get that one.
I want to.
You could get that ticket I dropped. It's on the floor. Wee. Lanterns in the sky. I can fly twice as high. It's in a book.
Karen, I see your joke. I just can't respond to it right now.
Yeah, sorry, Taryn. We're locked in.
Yeah!
Yay, you got one!
You know, I better pick up the one that Mashi left. Okay, where can I get more of them?
Behind our house, behind John's shop.
This one looks good.
Okay.
I just have one question for you. Yes!
Why? Why what?
Y-axis.
Why?
It's a math joke. Because Taryn made a math joke. Yes!
You're learning. We're doing it.
I am how you made me, said Taryn. That's crazy.
Come on, get it. Come on, get it. Get it.
Yes!
Get it. Can I get this one? Oh, it fell in the water.
Yeah, I had one fall in the water too.
How long do we do this for?
I don't know.
Like, is there gonna be a point where they all just disappear? Oh.
That would be my guess. Yes.
Hey, I touched that. Hey! Hey, I touched that. Oh, there it goes.
Me. Give me that one.
Okay, how many for the... How many for We could buy star carpet path. I want this moon lamp. Okay, I got a moon lamp. For the star balloon, ooh, it's only 3. Cute. Oh shit.
Oh. What happened, Mashi?
It fell into the crocodile pond area. I'm okay though.
I think they won't attack you. I think they programmed it so that the animals won't attack you during this event.
Okay, that's nice. Thanks, devs. Oh, I fell in the water. Where did that ticket go? Oh,
It should have a yellow beacon kind of shining out of it.
yeah. Why the Trump impression?
What?
And we love Taryn for that? That's not a... What?
I don't
That's
really,
not a Trump impression.
I don't really want any Trump impression to be happening.
That's not really a Trump impression. It's just Sunny saying we love Taryn for that.
Yeah, that's nothing.
I wasn't doing a Trump. I know, Sunny. I know.
We know. You couldn't even if you tried, because you're a decent human being. You don't have what it takes.
Look at it, it's so pretty. I need to take a picture. I want to take a pic.
Yeah, take a pic with that camera.
Oh, look at you're in the distance. Hold on, I'm gonna get that picture.
Thanks for teaching me.
You're welcome.
Yes! Okay, let me see what I can get.
I got the moon lamp and a star balloon.
Star fence. I like the
Taking a
star
massive
fence.
Trump right now. Oh my god.
Ew. Theodore, if you take my ticket, so help me. Oh, that was you. I thought a bird just knocked one down.
No. Can I... What the... I don't think I can reach this one. It's kind of high.
I think there are some that are unreachable. Ah! Crocodiles can attack you. They can and will attack you.
Oh no!
Why did I ever leave the safety of my village?
Oh, that's a crocodile right there. Oh no, the dog! Oh, the crocodile just ate the dog.
The dog with the collar?
And it ate my... Wait, did it eat the... No, it didn't eat the fence.
That would be crazy.
What
How's
else
the
can I buy?
TOS? I don't know.
We got 10.
Some people can get away with stuff.
Is that emote jerk in it?
It looks like it is, yeah. It's probably just doing a shake weight. You know, like a totally innocent shake weight.
No! It's... Oh my god. Okay, what did you buy?
I
Oh,
bought
star
a
wall?
bunch of star fence.
Okay, I'm gonna buy the star ball. Carpet path. Glitter ball. Oh, I need 20 for the glitter ball.
The searchlight might look nice putting it, if we put it like in our town, then maybe we can see the light from the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be useful.
It looks like a banana. The moon lamp looks like a, oh shit. Looks like a banana. Banana.
I just saw a lantern spawn in the sky out of nowhere.
Oh, the aurora! Look at it!
Oh my god, it's beautiful!
Fletch, do you have anything to say?
Wow, look at that, everybody!
Oh, we could get lanterns all night, apparently.
Oh, we can?
Mm-hmm.
Searchlight costs 20.
Well, I have 5. You want some of my tickets?
No, I'll work my way up. Well, if I run out, then we can talk.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
I'll try to get it myself. I'm getting pretty good at this. Getting pretty efficient.
Yeah. That's 8. 9, 10. I need to move. Oh, that's just 9. Take a picture of the aurora. Come here, I gotta take a picture of you under the aurora.
Okay, let me just get this one. I'm here. I'm in the town. Where are you?
I'm by the bridge.
Okay.
And towards the back where the tower is.
Oh, the moon lamp is so cute!
Yeah, it's cute, isn't it?
Oh, by this bridge.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't see you.
Right here. I'm right here. By the tower. The satellite tower.
Oh, you're all the way over there?
Yeah. Right here.
Oh, it does look really pretty out here.
Yeah, right
Wait,
there. Look
wait.
Okay.
Heh.
Cute.
I got the shirt.
Oh, I got a milestone. Cute.
Thank you!
Mashimaru VT's latest VOD is ready for you. Bye, everyone. Apparently Twitch has other plans for me.
Well, okay then.
My VOD is ready for you, JJ. You in particular.
I got 14.
I've got 11, 12.
Haha!
Ahaha!
Everybody, when we're done getting lamps, I'll catch up on all the chat.
Yeah, I promise.
I promise. Your chat will not go unread. I will read it out loud with a dramatic voice.
Yay.
Just to show you extra how much I appreciate you. I heard the garage. Mr. Rin must be home with the dessert. We had one of those weekends where you have to grade like 300 exams in one weekend. It was one of those. It was one of those.
300, that's crazy.
Yeah, I had 110. And then he had, I think, 120 plus some extras from his other class because they're allowed to retake the exam. 20 tickets!
Almost got got. I almost got got.
Searchlight. Oh, my pockets are full.
La française person. I saw you in Max's chat earlier. Hello, welcome. I hope you're
Hello,
doing
la
well.
française
The
person.
French person. La France. We played with French people in Valorant yesterday. It was very entertaining.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Did they
Yeah,
speak English?
Barely. Barely. They were speaking French the whole time. They did say omelette du fromage for us.
Omelette du fromage, yeah! Oh, they're so real for that. Did they ask you guys to say anything in English? To entertain
No.
them?
No.
I'm curious what the
They
opposite
were
for
hilarious,
community.
yes. I wonder. Hey, gonna be real with you. I've got you on in the background while on call with my wife, but I'll try to be active in chat. No worries.
Don't talk to your wife.
Talk to your wife. I don't.
We
Thank
appreciate
you.
the lurk.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna buy the glitter
Tell your wife we
balls.
said hi.
Tell your wife I said hi.
Tell your wife we're coming for her.
I said hey.
Tell your wife I said hey. What's up? What's up, beautiful? Tell her I said that.
What?
Sorry, I thought we were just joking. I took it a little too far. Sorry, Mashi.
No.
no.
You're
the only woman for me.
They're like, what? Did you buy the glitter ball yet?
No. I bought the searchlight.
Okay.
Will it just let us keep doing this? Because it turns into late o'clock, and then I think we can just stay up as late as we want at that point.
Yeah. Until the sun comes up. I don't know where to
Actually,
put.
I think time...
That is so cute. Actually, hold on. Where should I put
Wait.
this?
I can't wait to see it. Oh my god, that's adorable!
It's little stars.
Pattern in the ground!
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome! I love that!
Oh gosh, I did not see you there.
Me?
No, this guy. Let me
Hi,
get
Change.
my lanterns in peace. Hi, Change. Oh my gosh. Thank you for subscribing. You're so kind. I appreciate you, Le Français.
Even after we threatened...
Even
You're like
after I
my
threatened to
wife.
steal your wife. Thanks.
Maybe they're like, I better sub. I gotta keep an eye on these people. The wife said she enjoyed the attention. Let's go! We've done nothing wrong.
I love that.
I love that your wife said she enjoyed it. Sounds like you have an awesome wife.
Yeah.
Kind of like how I have an awesome wife named Mashimaro BT.
We have awesome wives. Rinfinite.
Join the club! Join the I have a great wife club. Maybe the real wife was the friends we made along the way. You can keep telling yourself that, Change. It's okay to be alone.
Oh no.
I think the lanterns are done, Mashi.
Done?
I think they're done. I don't think new ones are spawning.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna catch the last few I can and then turn in my tickets.
Yeah, I've got... And from friend duty. Thank you for the follow, rich person! I'm retiring from mod and from friend duty. You hate me? No, I don't.
Ouch. Get out of here.
Okay, I exchanged all my tickets. Okay, I will scroll back and read
Ouch.
the chat soon.
Leave me alone. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about this guy. I could buy a couple more no, I could buy 1 star fence. I could buy
40.
a pinwheel. I can buy a sweater. I'll buy this. That's the rest of my stuff. We matchy.
Yay!
Oh, that is so cute.
It's really cute fence. I think that's
It
a bit
is
much, too
super-
much of it.
Super cute.
I thought it would look cute next to the moon, but I think
I
it's a
say goodbye to
bit
the
much.
wife. She's EP sad times. Aww. Well, I hope she
Good
gets
night,
good rest.
Hi, Star! Star! Ravima, hi!
Hi.
Everyone! Oh, yeah, I should drop off my stuff as well. Hi, everyone. Okay, we gotta go back and... Okay. I really enjoy the horizontal axis in graphs. They leave me feeling excited. Whenever I see you, you're always dropping puns.
The
S-O-K,
aesthetics of this
LOL.
house, I am in
JJ
love.
says,
You like the
plus
stars.
2.
Plus 2.
I have just one question for you, says God. Why? I am how you made me, says Taryn. And then Taryn says, in Mashi's chat, should have never glued a piranha to my boomerang. I just know it's gonna come back to bite me.
Good one. I like it.
And then God followed that up with, happened to a buddy of mine. He lost his left arm. Don't worry though. He's alright now. Lost his left arm and his left leg, perhaps? Okay, then we got to the jerking off emote. Mashimaro's VOD's ready. French person. Talking about the wife.
Uh-huh. I'm stealing that.
What? Stealing what?
The joke?
The I'm alright now? You've never heard that one
God's
before?
joke, or?
I don't know if you should steal God's joke. That's a bit risky. The aesthetics of this house. French person! Welcome to Rinfination. We have free healthcare.
Gulp, gulp, gulp.
Star, shouldn't you have been like...
Sorry, but that's
Us
an
like,
Arrested
6 hours
Development
ago?
joke.
Oh my god, the boomerang joke. Okay. Rin, were you still interested in fighting game stuff? Yes. Do you have an interesting
Fighting game stuff?
interesting thing? Yeah, Ravima taught me how to play Guilty Gear.
Oh, fun! I
I'd
love.
be up for playing some
Are
more
you
stuff when I'm
struggling to
done.
get in this building?
What?
Did I kick you out of the building on accident?
No, I just
Okay.
couldn't talk to him because you were talking to him, so I left. You play
Okay.
Gear? I played it once. Don't get carried away.
My favorite character from Guilty Gear is Bridget.
That's a good choice.
I've never played the game.
I mean, still a good choice.
Bridget is pretty great.
I was playing as May, the girl with the dolphin.
Ooh, I don't think I've seen that girl. I don't think I've seen that girl. Oh, wait, I took your rice? Did you give me your... No, this is wheat. Oh, this is wheat. Do you have some rice I can see, perhaps?
Yeah.
Maybe we could turn it into a flower? Oh, look at that! Shiny.
Town's looking pretty, like a real place people could live.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put the rice in this box.
Okay.
Here you go. Maybe we could be bees.
We could be bees. I made bread. Ooh. Now I can make jam on toast. Look it. I got bread. Where are you? Loaf.
Delicious! Look at that loaf! I loaf you!
I loaf you.
Your island is way nicer than mine, LMAO. To be frank though, I only do the fishing. My friend does everything else. I didn't know you played this game, Star.
I didn't know either. I am not a big fan of fishing in this game, I'm gonna be honest.
It's okay.
I like everything else except the fishing.
Hydrate, thank you!
So you started a week ago? Week or two ago? Nice.
Well, in that case, there's still time for you
We've
to
been
get
playing
interested
for
in more
like
hobbies.
at least a month now, maybe?
Yeah, I would say. I feel like this star fence needs to go like somewhere that's not in the main area.
Yeah? Where's Theodore? Oh, he's in his museum, probably.
That makes sense.
I have a donation for you. No, I don't
Stars
have
are
a
perfect in
donation.
every environment. This game looks so cozy, comfy, yeah, until a freaking alligator tries to kill you.
Yeah, or emu.
See 'em? They're right. And listen to what sound it makes when they start coming after you. Oh, they're actually on your stream, so never mind. They won't hear it. Mosh, you have to go get mauled by a croc. It's the only way.
Gotta get mauled by a croc.
What did you think of the Homestuck pilot? Excuse me?
They're making a show.
Oh boy.
The show, the first episode is out? The pilot's out?
What?
I have not seen it yet. Craft 8 gumwood path.
This guy wants cactus figs
8
to become
gumwood
friends.
path. Cactus fig.
We probably have those.
Yeah, we probably do.
Toby Fox voices a character?
Yeah, the guy from
Which one?
the guy that made
Yeah, I know who
Undertale.
Toby Fox is.
Is that the guy who
Oh,
made
the
Undertale?
wallpaper's so pretty!
You just noticed?
Yeah! It's beautiful! I love this.
Oops.
Well, the outside of our house is like green and with bushes and blue mushrooms, so I feel like the purple star fence doesn't go in this zone.
How could you not notice sooner?
I don't know. I like Toby Fox. I want to chat. Here you go. Oh, you found a cactus figs? Yeah, I found a cactus figs. Wackadoo! Rin pulls through again. I want you to take this as a reward. It's Dinks! Ching! Hey chat, what if we touched Dinks in the Outback?
Play your name in lowercase, Lamau.
Hi!
OMG, you're talking to an Irwin.
It was you. Yeah, we made that joke earlier, but
You're
you
going
guys
back to
weren't
other
here.
chat.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Stay
whoa,
away
whoa,
from my
whoa.
dink man. Where's the dink man? You have a husband.
I'm aware. But what if?
She has a husband and a wife, okay?
Wait, so we did that joke earlier, but you guys weren't here, so I did it again so you could hear it. I thought you'd think it was funny. But what do I know?
It's hilarious.
What would he think? He probably heard me say it. It was super funny. Thank you! She's starting to collect dinks like she collects wives. No, she's not. We all start laughing. Wow, intern, thank you so much for your support. Let's
John wants
shout out.
internalist.
Yeah, they are the person who does VTuber FM radio.
Oh, very nice.
They're very cool, and they have like the coolest like punk outfit character. Extremely, extremely cool. Sometimes I actually have a picture of their an art of their character on my phone, and I just look at it sometimes because it looks so cool.
What the heck, Rin?
Intern, you inspired me to get my punk outfit. You were the inspiration. It was literally you. No, yes, wait. Yeah, because I was like, that outfit looks super cool. I want one. It's like having a locket with your true love in it. Aww. You're
Do
so
you
cute.
think-
No, you.
Do you think we can take on the Alpha Jackaroo?
No, but I'm willing to try.
Okay,
This is where we find Rin's true love. Hold on a minute.
Hold on a minute.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I didn't say anything about love. Shout out to math, lol. Academia arc. That sounds fun. Okay, let me sell these bugs.
Cock-a-doodle-doo! I need to water my crops. Where's my... Okay.
Wheelbarrow. I've been wanting this. This is so accurate to Australia. I love selling my bugs. Have you ever used a kite to knock a floating lantern out of the sky? Are you guys actually married? Me and Mashi are not married to one another in human life.
We are
married to
fictional
each other in
wives.
every farming game, literally all the time. Wow, this game is accurate. Wait, intern. Here's where my house is, okay? You see that green building? That's my house. This is my house. This is my house. And if I walk right over here, there's a lake where crocodiles live, and they want to eat and kill me. See? Is that realistic? They are bisexuals. This is true. I love them. They're so baby. What are you talking about? They just tried to kill me. Rin is married to Mr. Rin. He looks like this. Yeah. He looks like this.
Yeah.
We stream together on Mondays. The Crocs are so cuddly.
It's Sapphic Sunday and then Marriage Monday.
Sapphic Sunday, Marriage Monday.
Okay, time to go slay the Alpha Jackaroo.
So my copper spear has like 1 hit point left.
I can make you an iron spear.
I would love that. That would be
Iron
fantastic.
spear. I need palm wood planks. Let's see. Okay, here you go. That's just for you. Wait. Take me.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Let's go!
Yay! Can we
Those
jump
are
with
so
it?
cute.
Oh, we could ride your motorcycle to the Alpha Jackaroo.
Oh, you're so smart.
Take
wait,
your spear though. Take your spear.
Yeah. Take my spear.
In the barrow. It's like a
let's get
child in
my-
the supermarket.
In the barrow. All right, Mashi, get on.
Come on.
Which way do we have to go?
It's the skull.
Oh wait. Beep beep. Uh-oh.
We can jump. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh gosh, is this gonna work? Is it gonna break again?
I thought surely this time.
Surely this time. Here,
you
let's
just
cross
open the fence.
Yeah. Okay. Let me get on.
Okay.
Okay. Onwards.
Onwards.
I always wanted to
We're
ask, do you have
motorcycle
heterochromia
lesbians
in
now.
real life? I do not, but my
Mr. Rin does though.
the circle around my eye is like a brownish color.
Okay.
What is that called? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, God. That did not work.
That was so funny.
Oh, gosh.
So who
You
are we,
pissed
who
off
are we
the
killing?
emo. You pissed off the emu. Is it this emu?
It must be. I see. That's where the
they're,
skull is, right?
They're on the island. No, it's a jackaroo. Jackaroo.
Jackaroo. Are you sure?
No,
they're
it's
right?
this guy. Is it this guy?
Well,
Oh
let's
God,
kill
there's
him and see
two
what
of them.
He's already half dead.
Okay, that was not it.
I don't think we succeeded. Don't kill the emu bullies. Well, it was gonna attack us, so we had to. Okay. That's a cassowary, no? I don't know. Oh, Ponyo says hi, Surgeon Mashi.
Hello.
Ponyo, 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 tiny little fishy. What could you really be? Ponyo, Ponyo, Ponyo. She's a little girl. She's a little girl with a round tummy. Where are we going? We'll eat their meat. Don't worry.
I don't know.
We killed them in self-defense.
Hunt down the alpha jacker using its last known location on the map. Okay, this is its last known location, so
No
maybe we need to...
locations. We have to look around.
Mm-hmm. It's not gonna be an emu. It's gonna be a kangaroo.
A jackaroo. Kangaroo Jack.
Kangaroo
Isn't that
Jack.
a cartoon? Just like how you defended against a poor innocent croc. Mashi killed that croc, not me.
It was trying to attack Rin.
Only because I baited it.
Look, there's a
Hello?
shark.
Shark alert!
Hello? Oh, is that it? In the distance?
Where?
Let's
Where?
see.
Oh, that looks promising! There were two of them, though. And they look to be the same size. I feel like the alpha one would be bigger.
Yeah, this is not it.
Okay. Then
The
let's not
alpha
kill
one
them.
kind of attacks like...
I remember we fought it and we died, right?
Yeah, we did. I see, says the shark man as he picks up his hammerhead on and saw shark. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's... Oh, no, that's not iron. That's tin. Well, what the heck?
We're not good hunters.
No.
Showtail, thank you, Vree! Hi! Vree, I hope you're doing good.
Hi, Free.
Kind of had a lot going on. The semester's been pretty difficult, but... Okay, chat, I go Sneepy. Good night!
Go sleepy. Good night.
Me too, Vree, me too. Good idea, Sneepy time.
Did you just
Look at
post
this
to
little
your own
kangaroo! So nice, so friendly.
comment? Yeah.
Okay, but look at this emu. Look what happens.
Ah!
Completely unprovoked.
All she did was look at it.
Completely unprovoked. That's why. Been nice chilling with all. Yeah. Okay, wait. Here's more.
You too.
Is this
La
it?
Francais.
No, that's a regular size one.
Yeah, definitely regular.
Where's the biggin? That's a
Where's-
cassowary you got in his face with a spear. Well, even if I didn't, he would still attack. I try to keep my distance from them.
Okay,
I see. Oh, yeah, that would have
Have
been
we
good.
gone too far?
Probably.
Let's
Work our
see.
way back towards the skull and see what happens.
Yeah.
Hello, kangaroo. Where's your leader? Take me
Where's-
to your leader. Take me to your leader. He's taking me somewhere. I wonder if we needed to, like, look for a pile of roo poo and then, like, follow that or something.
Maybe? I don't see any Rupu on this.
Or maybe
Little
there's, like, a
island.
hunting kit. Or, like, an ability we have to unlock, perhaps.
Let me go talk to Fletch.
Lizards. Lizard.
Lizard. Oh, is this the guy? No, that's a baby. Lizard. I really have to use the restroom real quick.
Going to sleep now. Please do, please do.
I'll be right back.
Put your character in a safe place.
Yeah, I'm in town.
Okay. Just pretend you guys didn't see me destroy that bird's nest. I'm dying right now? Good luck murdering innocents? What? Star, I saw that you asked... what's the most amount of money we've made in one day? And I honestly have no idea. Probably like the day we sold the ruby. Chicken! Free chicken! Ooh!
Free chicken!
And a free circuit board.
Ooh.
I'll take don't mind if I do.
Alpha Jackaroo has been spotted in this location. This is a very dangerous alpha animal and it should only be taken on by experienced hunters.
I don't know. We looked around the area quite thoroughly, I'd say.
Ooh, there's a night market on the 19th and a bug catching competition on the 15th.
All right.
Okay, we have 4 days, so maybe it'll show up. Where am I gonna put my kite? Uh-oh. My headset died.
Oh. Sunny makes me laugh like no one else. Mashi makes me live, laugh, love. I said that specifically because I know she can't hear me.
What?
Nothing.
What'd she say, guys?
I said Mashi makes me live, laugh, love.
Live, laugh, love.
Yeah. Mashi makes me live, laugh, love.
Oh, that's not the color of the grass we have.
It's okay, we can mix it until we have what we want.
Live,
laugh, lava. What?
Huh?
Is that from? That must be from some. Where's my wheelbarrow?
Did you pick it up?
Oh, here it is. No, I left it in the street.
So we got the laugh, love, live.
Where's my
mirrors
wheelbarrow?
here.
It's right
We
where
got
you left
live,
it,
love,
dear.
laugh. We go in the bathroom here.
No,
We
it's
got
not. I checked. Oh,
Live,
wait.
laugh,
There it is.
love. We come out here to the rug. We got live, laugh,
Okay, well,
love.
let's see how the
We go
wheelbarrow
over
works.
here.
I wonder how much
We
dirt it
got
can hold.
Live, laugh, love. We come over here. We got life, live, love, laugh. Live, laugh, love. Live, laugh, love. Laugh, love, live, laugh.
Love, live, laugh.
Oh my gosh, Mashi, I think it can hold unlimited dirt.
Oh, well, that's nice. Unlimited dirt. Dirt unlimited.
Limited.
Dirt everything.
Dirt everything is
Dirt.
pretty good.
Dirt everything. Fate stay night, unlimited dirt work. Oh my gosh. $22 grass seeds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
That. Mashi, I think I see a searchlight off in the distance.
Do
Oh,
you?
it's the moon. Oh my god. It's literally the setting moon is the crescent, so it kind of looks like a...
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
Oh shit.
What's
Oh.
wrong?
I accidentally hit the wheelbarrow with my scythe.
That's okay. Aha!
Do you have any grass seeds?
Yeah, I do.
I'll take them. Thanks.
What do you think of this purple area?
That's beautiful.
And it keeps these crocs away.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful and it serves a function.
Yeah.
Gives the fountain a little
Very
more
nice.
pizzazz.
I'm trying to finish our lawn.
I just picked up one more piece.
Can you shovel that?
There you go. I guess you can't, like, put a grass down on top of a grass, huh?
No. I think I broke this log.
What do you mean by that?
It's kind of in the ground. It's like it's halfway in the ground.
I see that. I do see that, yes.
It happened when I put grass underneath it. Did I put
Did you try
crops
picking it up and
today?
putting it back down?
I did.
But what if I try?
Sorry, Cox, I took your
Oops, I put it wrong.
house.
Oh no. The log's just messed up now.
Well, maybe if we redo the... I don't know.
Foreclosed on Cox? Foreclosed?
Yeah, I took his house.
Wow. That's crazy.
Oh, well. Wait, is that jam? Ooh, can I make honey on toast?
Honey on toast.
No, I cannot.
I'm what? What the fuck, says Cox? I mean this with all due respect. I assume she was just moving it.
I was trying to pet you and I ended up accidentally picking your house up.
Oh, well, she put it right back. It's totally
Put
fine.
it right back. Yeah, it's right there. Are we in debt?
Probably. I'll go check.
I got it. Here's all my money.
I'll pay off the rest. Just casually picking up a house like it weighs 0. Well,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
When you live in Dinkum, you become strong. Because every day you wake up and a crocodile is outside your tent trying to kill you. So if you want to survive, you have to become tough. That up. Put this over here.
oh, that's cute.
Eh?
A rattan cabinet. Oh, no.
No, it's not cute. You changed
No,
your mind.
it is. I can't. I don't know where to put it. We have, like, we're
You
running
have
out
too
of
much.
space.
You can put it in the other house we built.
Yeah, I can't. Bedtime?
Drive my wheelbarrow home. At least park it in our own yard, you know?
Yeah.
What if somebody comes and steals my dirt? Sleep. Oh, I have 3,000 tickets. That's enough to get whatever I wanted to get next.
Nice.
Another beautiful day. Bug tipster. In the early mornings, there was a bug in the bushlands I never seen before. If I played this game, I would have so much dink. Well, we've had tons of dink. We just keep spending it to make our town nice. Like, look how nice our town looks. It's got beautiful fall colors.
Yeah, we had to pay off our debt.
We have an adorable green cottage. That's what she said. Cocks are an embarrassment.
The bushlands, there was a bug in the bushlands.
Yes. What is bushlands? That's where we live. We live in the bushlands.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if we look around, we can find a weird bug. Or maybe because we live in the bushlands, we've already seen it.
Man, this is a Wendy's.
I mean, this is about as early morning as I can possibly get, so. Ma'am. This is a Wendy's.
Wow, that made 3 brekkie bread.
Wow,
I
that's
got brekkie-
awesome.
Wow, that's awesome. I've got brekkie bread.
She's got brekkie bread.
I want brekkie bread.
I know what to do, Mashi will just sink all the logs into the ground, and then it'll look right.
But John's floating.
What are you talking about? It looks perfect.
Here, why don't you... No, hold on. Here, let's dig up the dirt and then put it back. Maybe that'll fix it.
Oh, you just want to have no grass here?
Well, it seems the grass is the thing that broke
causing
the
the problem.
Yeah. Do you want it to the left? Oh no.
right.
Why is that one broken now?
Oh no! They're still broken. Maybe we have to make new.
This one's not broken for me.
They're both broken for me. Maybe when we log out and log back in next time, they'll be fixed.
Okay.
I'm gonna choose to have faith. So do you want to... Oh wait, we paid off our debt. That means we can get something else.
Yeah.
I want to apply for a license. Mashi, did you know you could be bees?
You could be bees. I did know that.
Yeah, I want the advanced crafting table is what I want. The advanced crafting table lets you craft with items in nearby chests.
Oh, okay.
So we don't have to take them out of the chest anymore.
Okay, but we probably need to bring all the chests outside.
Well, it's not the ones that just have like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think we need to, because only the building materials need to be nearby.
Right. Yeah.
Let's talk about the town. Okay, let me see. Not curing cancer or solving world hunger, I just want to be bees. Okay, so the only thing we can get is an extra house. So do you want to try expanding our house?
Yeah, let's expand our house.
Let's expand our own house. We finally deserve it.
I think I found the... No, I didn't find it.
Okay.
I'll keep
I want to
looking.
upgrade. It's gonna cost $220,000, yes. What? I have to pay for it up front?
What?
We don't have to pay for anything else up front, Granny!
How much is the... Oh gosh, sorry, hold on. How much do you have?
Beware of bears wherever you upgrade is crazy.
That's
I
not...
guess I better go out and do some fishing or something. Or do you want to go
much-
down to the mine?
We could do that. We need... Can we craft iron pickaxes?
No.
Do we need to unlock
We don't have
that?
to go. I don't
Oh.
have... Oh, no, I do not have it unlocked.
Okay.
I cannot craft an iron pickaxe. Let me use a
Damn.
crafting table to make an advanced crafting table. A Burconium bar? What the hell's a Burconium bar? We won't be getting that for a while, Mashi. There's a lot of bears in this game. There's literally no bears.
There's no bears. There's no bears. Bears are non-existent. They're extinct in Australia.
They're extinct in Australia.
No, they're not. The bears will get you. I think we're safe from the bears.
building. That's tough. Don't tell that to koalas.
They're marsupials. Didn't we have
Yeah,
this
they're not
discussion?
I think we have this discussion every time we stream this game.
At least twice.
So what should I do? Maybe fish to get some money?
I can't believe you don't know about dropped bears. You can't spell marsupial without bear. I think you can.
You literally can, though. What? I agree with Shark. He's right. People are crazy, Mashi.
You guys are insane. You're gonna drive me up
They'll
the
say
wall.
anything just to confuse us.
So true. Plants might
Shark's
like
got
it.
the real takes.
Plants might like it.
Who?
They like poop.
Oh.
I can't get. It's not. No, it's not working. Maybe I put the roo-poo in the mill and it makes fertilizer. No, it doesn't.
I don't know. Shark is the most logical person I know. More than me, the literal math professor? I pull back the wallpaper to reveal there's diapers everywhere.
Dirty diapers.
I do computer science. Computers aren't logical. They're supposed to be. Is math on steroids? No, it's not. There is some math involved.
Oh, there's a commerce license. Holder will
What does that
receive
do?
5% more when selling items.
I can't just go code because it's not the same field with not the same skills.
I need to catch a chicken.
What?
I need to catch a chicken. A turkey. The Research Animal Center is offering an increased reward for each cockatoo delivered for a limited time. You will receive
Why
this
can't you
reward
got me?
for each cockatoo delivered during this period.
Cockatoo?
Cockatoodle-doo. I need... What do I need?
Filters are so funny? What are you talking about?
Nails, hardwood, and palmwood. Nails, palmwood, hardwood.
I caught a bony tongue.
Ew. Bony tongue
Just
does
a
not
fish.
sound...
It does not sound appetizing. It hit you, Shark, and you're a chicken? Oh, right. Auto mod.
I'm
filter,
putting all
I
the
understand.
paint in the wooden house. Or the other house.
Yep, perfect. So I kind of just dumped a bunch of my stuff in a box. You feel free to move it.
Okay. I need to find a cockatoo.
Me and Mr. Rin's parents yesterday we've been playing V Rising together.
Ah, yes.
I was really excited because I finished the castle walls, so now our castle has a roof.
Yay.
And we have a servant thrall named Thomas. He doesn't do anything, but we have him.
Dinkum.
Is there bees in this game?
Dinkum.
Yes.
Yeah, we sold several beehives.
Yeah, if I go find the right kind of tree, then I can sell beehives. But I have to go look for the right kind of tree.
A cockatoo
Oh,
is the one that flies? How the heck am I supposed to catch one of those?
Put it on the ground and hope.
And hope.
Maybe you can put like some chicken food on it.
Shoot it, be American.
Well, it has to be alive, right? It can't be...
Right.
It has to be captured, not killed.
We have to take it to the research facility.
Thank you! Shoot it with love? This isn't Undertale. We don't have love pellets.
I'm all out of love pellets.
Friendliness pellets or
All
something.
I just have hatred pellets now.
Oh, damn.
Just kidding.
What happened?
I took the non-pacifist route.
Oh my god.
I'm just kidding. I didn't.
She killed Papyrus!
I didn't. I haven't even finished my
She
pacifist
killed
route.
Papyrus!
Papaya? Darkstar, thank you for the head pat. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're fishy. I wanna eat you. And by eat you, I mean sell you to the local store.
You are correct, Rin. I have to put bird feed down to attract them.
I'm a genius.
I appreciate you too, Mashi. Yay.
Cox says, Mashi, I have a question. What's Chunky Boy up to?
Chunky Boy is in his tree sleeping.
Oh.
Little Chunky.
I wonder what my baby girl is doing. I caught a rainbow fish. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. You could sell that. Does it say if we don't? Yeah, it does say if we donated it. We have not donated a silver perch yet. Or a Travala. Silver perch. We have not donated.
I don't think I've caught any of those.
You've donated fish that I haven't even seen yet. It shows me in my Pedia.
My pockets are full. Should I swap something? Yes. Swap these random bones. I don't need these. Now I need to figure out how to get home. I'm just gonna put a little glower on our house so I can see where I'm glowing. Chunk G needs his own room as a play place.
This is his play place. He has all his toys in here. He has his tunnel, his cat tree, his little, the balls that, like, ring.
Mm-hmm. Owns the whole house. I have a donation of a grayling and a yabby.
Hi, how are you,
In case you were
Maud?
wondering. Maud! Maud, I saw you sent me a video. I didn't watch it yet. That's why I didn't respond yet, because I didn't watch the video yet. There she is. Come here,
Oh, oh, oh. Oh, shit.
And she never will? Don't... You don't have to tell them that. I'm gonna try to watch it. Norman!
Norman, hi Norman. How did you make it bounce? That's cute.
Boing, boing,
Boing,
boing, boing,
boing,
boing,
boing.
boing.
Oh, look at, guys, look at. He's going. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, we caught one. I think that
What'd
was
you
a
get?
cockatoo. No, that wasn't a cockatoo. Damn.
What was it?
It was a different, it was like a crane looking bird.
Got a lot of fish to sell.
Hi, baby boy. Are you gonna eat your
23,000, I'll
food?
take that.
Your good life happens when people get busy. So true.
Thank you. I appreciate you understanding.
I wish I
Got a
could
job for me, John?
put my...
Fuck off!
Cute.
Sorry. I just sold him like 4 rainbow fish, and then I asked him if he needed anything, and he said, could you bring me a rainbow fish?
Whoa! That's crazy!
That's messed up!
That's nutty.
Come on, man. Okay, but I am getting 3 scallop shells. For the museum man.
Look, I put my balloon down and now
You look
it's...
like a... You look like a rave girl. Like you're gonna go and there's gonna be a black light shining and you're gonna like be the hottest girl there.
Thanks.
And everyone will be like, "Oh my god, I love your skeleton pants!" And then you'll have to tell them where you got them from, which is
Yeah.
like from a mystery box. Here's your shells.
Watermelon popsicle?
Money!
I don't have a watermelon.
These people are so unreasonable.
I don't even know how to make popsicles.
How are we supposed to make friends? There's a
Boil
free
'em, mash
website you
'em,
can use
stick
to
'em in a
mate
stew.
emotes.
Oh, that's cute.
Got a job for me? Oh yeah, I have a medieval breastplate I don't need. I'll sell you it for 42,000 dinks.
Medieval
No.
breastplate?
Yeah.
Does it give us armor or something?
I don't know. Mashi, I'm just going to look over in that area where the king kangaroo might be.
Okay. Scream if you need me.
A baby! I don't need you, I just saw a baby.
Okay, where are these?
Refill my water bottle? We're gonna play
Cockatoos.
for like 15 more minutes, so I'll just refill. I'll refill it when we're done, if it's okay with you. How many
many-
bears have you killed so far? 0.
0.
Yeah, actually 0.
Not the bird I need.
That's fine. Thank you! You just passed a bear? You mean the emu?
You mean the kangaroo?
Or the
That's
turkey?
a kangaroo.
The turkey?
That's a kangaroo, Cox.
Oh yeah, they're talking to you, not me.
No, Cox. You're wrong.
I'm not gonna hurt you, I'm just looking for your leader. I'm not gonna hurt you, kangaroo. I'm just gonna hurt the most important person to you and everyone you know. So many bears. Oh my god.
Okay, let's see if we could catch a crane.
Swimming bears. They can find a new leader. You know what? Great point. They can just find a new leader. What am I even worrying about? Oh, I might be able to find a beehive.
A beehive? Oh, those were dogs, Cox. Those were dogs. Do you know what a dog is?
I got the
No,
beehive.
You're incorrect. In what world does that look like a bear? Huh?
Fox, just get back in your house and ovulate for us.
Yeah, just keep ovulating.
We don't need you to try to do anything else, like identify animals.
Stop trying to identify animals. That's crazy. Get back in the house and ovulate. Oh
Get
my
back in your
God.
house and ovulate. You're not good for anything else.
It's crazy. That totally won't be clipped out of context.
No, definitely not. That would never happen. Time to lurk after that? Aw, man. I thought it was funny. More like the handmaiden's quail. Hey! Do you know what, JJ? +2. You know what, JJ? +2. Men to their wives in the 50s? Yes, exactly.
I'm eating over here, or I should say I was. What?
Oh, sorry.
What's wrong with ovulation? Sorry, never mind.
I
Stop
should tell
talking.
you about how they're gonna cut my ear off my head.
They're not gonna cut it off.
They're gonna cut it most of the way off.
Was it just me, or
This
is
is
the
not the weirdest thing
jackaroo-
they've talked about. Not by a long shot.
Is the jackaroo getting closer to us?
I don't know. A sword button in these chests would go so hard.
I know. Devs, if you can hear us, please add a sword button next update.
Sword
An
button,
auto sword and an auto.
please.
Well,
Just like
you have the
alphabetical, I
auto
don't even
drop.
care.
We just need an auto sort.
Auto sort. I don't need it to sort them well. I just need it to sort them somewhat.
Are you trying to trigger me, Cox?
Yeah, that's what Cox is trying to do constantly. At all times.
Because it's working.
And that's why they keep doing it.
Constantly.
Constantly? Boo.
Oh, God.
How about a rainfish?
A
You scared
rainfish.
the bear with the light.
It's a torch.
Yeah, it's called a torch. Bruh.
And the British called their flashlights torches. Did you know that?
I bet they didn't. we've been watching the British comedy show called Would I Lie to You? I think they call it like a brazier.
A brazier.
Like if it's on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
then they might call it a brazier. That's my guess.
What do they
There's no
call a
fish out here.
torch then? A sweater.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, a brazier.
Go give that bear some dinks.
No.
I would if there were bears in this game.
Good one. Got
Man, this is a
him.
Wendy's.
It's almost time for our treats.
Real life treats you?
Our real life treats.
Real life treats, real life.
I'm sad we couldn't play for longer, but I appreciated playing for
I'm glad we got to play
a
and
couple
a
hours.
I got nothing going on next weekend.
Me either, I don't think.
Then
No,
the
I don't.
weekend after that, I have a friend's wedding, so
Oh, your friend's
But I should
wedding
be home by-
finally!
yeah. I should be home by Sunday afternoon.
I don't need to touch grass next weekend.
Yeah, she touched grass once. She doesn't have to touch grass for like another 3 weeks now. If this is a rainbow fish, I'll be so happy.
Oh, I
Nope.
was very concerned because I saw a beehive in our house.
Oh, it's just so we can sell it tomorrow.
I know.
I suppose I could go to sleep.
I suppose we could sleep.
Suppose we could sleep. Yeah, I think we both have ice cream treats.
Yeah.
You could be bees. This is
This is
good, news.
news. Oh, there's mushrooms everywhere outside.
And Rain is visiting. That's nice.
But Rain was there yesterday.
No, Mashi, the person named Rain.
Oh, okay.
The person named Rain. Do you have somebody you want to raid to, Mashi?
Let's see. I have Max Forge doing a. If they are still live, they've been doing a. Yeah, they're still doing their subathon, so.
Who's
They
that?
are a Max Forge VT. They are a history teacher VTuber.
What? No way. We could start a VTuber school together.
There you go. That's how you spell it.
I actually am already on their channel.
They're doing a subathon, and if you sub to them, their timer will go up, and they have to stream for longer.
Oh my gosh.
Their subathon is almost over, so make that
It's
timer
got a
go
little
up.
less
If you-
than 2 hours.
If you got that Twitch Prime, give them that Prime for the month.
That would be great.
That would be awesome. They are super fun and nice. And
I'm
they're
excited to
very
meet them.
interesting. Their lessons are pretty interesting.
Man, I don't ever teach math lessons.
They were doing a
Nice.
lesson on stolen art at the
Ooh,
beginning
that's
of their
so
subathon.
interesting, though.
Yeah.
That's such a great, like, it's, I don't know, it's just interesting story.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Okay, let's get that. Oh,
History
Sorry.
teacher VTuber. Yep.
Raid. There you go. Come to steal their cheese. Come to steal their
Pork,
cheese.
pork, pork,
Bark,
pork.
bark,
You
bark.
did do a math lesson on Pi Day. I did.
Okay, my timer's almost up. We're gonna have to go soon. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Onyata.
Bye.